Hi everyone, I'm Prem Kumar. Today I'm going to discuss about a very important topic: regulation of genetically modified crop release in India and understanding the legal framework. In this video, I'm briefly covering that what is genetically modified crops and what is the legal requirement that is needed for the release of the particular GM crops. And the image you're looking in the slide is very important for us. Like each and every aspects of our life is associated with this building. This is our Indian Parliament. It's called as Temple of Democracy. How it affects our life, it also affects in the genetics and plant breeding. It has a very important role in the rules and regulation which are framed with genetics and plant breeding. Like how it exactly plays a role in the genetics plant breeding, we are going to discuss in this class. And before going to discuss about the legal regularities, we should know that what exactly the genetic modified crops is. These are nothing but the crops which are not occur naturally, or it's not created by natural recombination or natural method. It's created by us. Like it's a standard definition of a FAO, a product not occur naturally by mating and or natural recombination. And in simple way, it's a crop that contains genes from other organisms which engineered to express a specific desirable traits. Like for example, you take BT cotton, golden rice. And why we need a GM crops? For example, we have a very good plant breeding methods and we have genomics in plant breeding. Every day we discuss a very new method of plant breeding. But although why we rely on a transgenic technology to develop this particular varieties? For example, it's important thing is like availability of the source. For example, what we do in plant breeding, for example, if the source of the particular trait is available, then we play with it and we release the varieties. But if the source is not available, what we will do? We have to rely on the advanced technology. For example, the BT genes which are available in the bacteria, it is not able to cross with our plants. That's why we need some advanced techniques like recombinant DNA technology, cloning, other methods to make our varieties insect resistance by incorporating the gene from the bacteria. Like the way, like that this is the main reason why we need a genetic modified crops, and also to boost our productivity and the different traits like herbicide tolerance, insect resistance, disease resistance, quality improvements. Each and every aspects of different crops, the different breeding objectives are met by the GM crops. Like for example, you take golden rice, we are enriching the vitamin A content in the rice varieties, which is where it's lacking. Then we are actually synthesizing a new synthetic pathway in the golden rice, like vitamin A synthesis pathway. That much level we are advanced. In BT cotton, we developed an insect resistance to bollworm. It's the gene brought from the bacteria, Bacillus thuringiensis. In the soybean, we developed a herbicide resistance for the many herbicides like glyphosate, imidacloprid. There are several herbicides. We have developed a resistance, and we can use herbicides for each and every particular varieties of these soybean crop. Like many in many traits, like every trait is exploited in every crop. It's not like that herbicide resistance is only in soybean. It's not like vitamin A in the golden rice. It's not like that. Every trait is exploited in different crops. For example, I have kept this. Then, what is GM crops? Why is GM crops is unsafe? Like there is a lot of questions among you that is the GM crop is unsafe or safe? If it is unsafe, why it is released in there's so much developed country like America? I mean, each and every crop they have released GMs. But in European countries and in the developing countries like in India, but still the GM crops are not released. Like only few crops are released. Why this much uncertainty and why this is a question arises? Because there are several examples because of that this is unsafe question will arise. For example, horizontal gene transfer and gene contamination. And for you are developing a transgenic variety due to horizontal transfer, it is transferred to any other species and it leads to gene contamination and transgene instability. We are developing a BT cotton. Unfortunately, BT gene is not expressed at that level, means epidemic will happen. Like for example, harm to non-target organism. We are developing a BT cotton for the bollworms, but it affecting the beneficial insects, means it's a harmful. Then risk of gene toxicity. For example, in maize, one crine 9 gene was there, and through crine 9 gene, the Starlink varieties were released. I think it's created allergic reactions in the human beings, so that way it's taken back and it's banned now. in the US. Like this way, there are several examples where it poses a threat to uh, ecological balance. Like environmentalists say that the genes which are non-natural in the particular organism, it may cause imbalance in the ecosystem. There are several reasons. I have highlighted only few reasons which are important for the breeder. Then, what is the status of GM crops? As of 2018 report, like 190 plus million hectare area was covered by GM crops by 17 million farmers in 27 countries. And in India, only one variety, crop is released as a GM crop, like cotton. In 2020, 2002 March is the first transgenic crop for the commercial cultivation. And what are the events like transgenic events approved so far in the world? According to from 1992 to 2016, total 404 events are approved. Among them, 148 are maize and 34 are soybean and 58 in cotton. There are several examples. If you want to know like in detail analysis of these particular events approved in which countries, you go through the website called GACC website. ISAAA website, which I have given the link in the description box. Like in India, total 11 events are approved, like 6 in five, 6 in cotton and 5 in soybean, which is available in the database ISAAA. But don't confuse with, it's not a crops released for a commercial cultivation. It's just approval of the events. Okay, it's not the crops released. Don't confuse with it. But if someone is asking you like how many events are approved in India, means it's 11 events. But how many crops are released is only one crop, that is a cotton. Then, what is the biosafety regulations for these biotechnological developments? There are several treaties in the world. One of the important treaty is a convention on biological diversity. The main focus of this treaty is conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity. And among this treaty, one article which mainly regulates the living modified organisms movements, like transboundary movements between the countries, and its use, storage, export, and import, everything, every aspect it covers. And another Cartagena protocol, it also deals with the same thing, like transboundary movement of transgenic organism from one country to other countries, and which are the rules we have to keep to make a safety containment to develop a transgenic varieties and its evaluation and release. There is a detailed protocol related to transgenic crops. At India level, mainly the act which is regulates the transgenic organisms in India is Environmental Protection Act 1986. Under the rules 1989, like it deals with the manufacture, use, and import and export of these genetically modified organisms. We will discuss in detail in coming slides. There are other apart from the Environmental Protection Act, there is Seed Policy 2002, Recombinant DNA Guidelines in 1990, and Guidelines for the Research in Transgenic Crops in 1998 were released. And please watch my video like genome edited crops approved or not, which I already made a video, which I provided link in the description box. Like we made a rules, like I told, like Environmental Protection Act is the main act which regulates transgenic crops development and release in India. Like there are several agencies to implement it. Like if the act is made, means there are several agencies needed to implement that. Like in India, there are several agencies like a Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, which mainly regulates this transgenic crops release and implementation of the act. There are under the Department of Biotechnology also. It's a very important agency which regulates the transgenic evaluation, development, and transgenic research in India. There are different authorities like Institutional Biosafety Committee, Review Committee on Genetic Manipulation, Genetic Engineering Approval Committee, Recombination Advisory Committee, and district level committees are very important authorities which conduct evaluations of transgenic traits. We will discuss in the next slide. Like testing of genetically modified crops, rules and guidelines with exactly in detail explanation of these rules, how testing will happen, how evaluation will take place. It's given in this Press Information Bureau. It's released by Government of India. It's available in Press Information Bureau. Please go through it. And we will discuss like how exactly the different authorities have role in the development of and evaluation of transgenic crops. First, for example, take an ICR, our institutes will apply for the GEAC, and at each institution level, if you want to conduct a transgenic experiment, we had to constitute institutional biosafety committee, and we had to take the approval from GEAC, RCGM. They are regulated by the GEAC. Then after, like at institution level, it will conduct evaluation like how research guidelines, safety containments to develop a transgenic varieties at institution level. After that, a review committee on genetic manipulation will give some guidelines, and they evaluate the transgenic varieties after getting the approval from the genetic engineering appraisal committee. Then actually these GEAC will recommend the government for the release of the particular varieties. Then the government will decide either this variety has to be released or not. And also Department of Biotechnology, like institutional biosafety committees, district level biosafety committees, and there are other agencies called as recombinant DNA guidelines committee. They will recommend a Department of Biotechnology, then they will recommend the government of India. This is a regulatory network which actually I'm not going in detail because it's the basic video. If you know, for example, GEAC, SPCC, DLCC, which are under the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, and RCGM, IBSC, which is under the Department of Biotechnology. This Department of Biotechnology and Ministry of Environment and Climate Exchange, they are collaboratively, they conduct rules, they lay rules and regulation for this evaluation research of transgenic crops. Then finally they will recommend government of India to release the varieties. This is how the regulatory framework will work in India. Thank you, Ananta. For watch my more videos, please subscribe, like and share.